Welcome in, everybody. It is ATB at the buzzer. We're down a soldier, but we gained one back. Little Shoes on assignment. He's pulling an extra shift because the brawny 38s are coming out. What number are they? What iteration of crappy footwear?
We have a visitor tonight. We have a visitor. His girlfriend. His girlfriend's here. So, ladies, he's off the market. Sorry.
He doesn't want to be on the show.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because due to the zero inquiries we've had online about his dating status, we can finally put that to bed.
Yep.
Looking for a man who's obsessively compulsive about shoes.
Spawn of rubber shoes loins off the market. Damn it.
Must own 50,000 Funko Pops.
All right, so Little Shoes is off playing with Little Heels or whatever her name is.
Yes,
we'll protect her name to guard the innocent.
Yeah.
We've got Uncle Dukes back in the chair, thank goodness, because somebody's got to make me make sense of this fiasco that just happened not at the Garden, technically Waltham, where the headquarters are, where the empty banner is. You know, they hang the empty banner.
Number 18.
18 has been sitting there for a long time.
Way too long.
That blank napkin next to it might have to last a few more years. We'll see. We're going to get into that. We thank you for, of course, enjoying the content. If you are enjoying the show, and I don't mean the first 3.5 minutes of this one, but just in general, the brand, as it were. We invite you to comment on YouTube. Please share with your friends, and you can find all of the greatness as you enjoy each and every Rubber Shoes wrap up on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can go up into our bio. There is a link tree. And of course, you can always go to atbshow.com, pulls you right into our YouTube channel where you can subscribe, share with your friends, and comment. So here we are, ATB. Adam, holding down Connecticut. My name is Timmy. We got Rubber Shoes, or Billy, as it were, if the cops are looking for him. And Uncle Dukes. Let's start with the Celtics.
Yes.
So weird. We were playing on Juneteenth. My office was closed, so me and the boy and a couple of other really bad golfers took to the links up at Lockmere. If you haven't played at Lockmere in Tilton, it's a great take. They've closed the clubhouse due to chlamydia 19, but that's another story for another time. So I invite you to go across Tilton into Kettlehead Brewery. We can talk restaurants and golf later. So Aiden has his phone, and Bubba's like Celtics traded. It was like 8:01. They literally dropped it on a Friday at 8 a.m. And it just so many things uncharacteristic about this. And I was immediately, and like if this was a video game, I'd have the question mark over my head. But I think the more we look at it, obviously it's about moving money, and I had to hear it 19 times, and everyone on this call is deeper into the hardwood than I am, for sure. I did not know. I want to unlearn that we owed Kemba an additional 73 million. I'm like, they must have the numbers transposed. It must be 37.
No.
We owed Kemba.
Yeah.
Yep.
73
He was going to be
mil.
the savior when he came in. He was going to save the organization. But banner number 18 and 19 were coming with him, I thought.
Well, they had to give him the max contract. I think they had to fill that void, I believe.
Well, that was just it. And Bill, Rubber Shoes is right. That was a panic move because Kyrie decided to, I'm out. I'm not going to stay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sign with you guys. I'm going.
That worked out well for him. We'll get to that later. Yep.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. But
going great.
It was just like a panic move. Yeah. 73, you're saving, like, when it breaks all down, almost 20 million.
What is he guaranteed? Do we know what he's guaranteed? I don't know. I didn't see that number.
Over like the next 2 years. You talking about Kemba, or are you talking about Al Horford?
No, I know Horford's guaranteed a bunch, but Kemba's
like guaranteed like around close to like 57 or something like that. Closer
Not
to
sponsored
60.
yet. I'm waiting.
It's insane.
It's insane amount of money. Like insane. It's super, super high.
It's a nutty amount of money just for anybody to play basketball, but let's be honest. He's in,
Walker.
I love Kemba Walker, but he's, a second tier at best point guard in the NBA. Let's be real. And he's making $73 million over 2 years. Oh,
when he landed, though, when he was inbound and you were, and his injuries aside, if he was inbound and he never had another problem with his injuries, was he worth the max contract at that time? Because it's easy for us to say now, it all sucked and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I talked about this a lot when it happened with a bunch of my friends, and you guys know Stoney, Ryan and I talk, him and I talk basketball all the time. I hated the signing because and Stevens actually addressed this just, I think, either today or yesterday when he addressed the media, was, he is a ball dominant guard. He's a ball dominant point guard. And you have these two wings that are ball dominant wings and Brown and Tatum, and you want to build around them. And then you bring in another guy that's not really a facilitator. He's a ball dominant. He's going to pound the ball in the court. He's going to look for a shot. He's not really going to move it all that well. I think his career high, per game in a season was like 8.7 or something like that assists in one season. So he never averaged double digits in the dimes. I mean, I could check that again. I might be wrong. But when Stevens addressed the media, he just addressed what I just said is you want to build around those guys. So he even came out and said that, we have these two young wings. We want to, who we're bringing in is to basically build around them.
Right.
And for him to actually come out and state that, I think is huge. Especially it gives like a lot of confidence to Tatum and Brown to sit there and say, all right, we believe in you, even though Danny's gone. And, we're believing you so much that we're going to invest. And I'm hoping that translates to even having some conversations with Tatum and with Brown about not only the players that they might bring in, but also the head coach, which I'm sure we want to talk about too, because they have narrowed it down to essentially, I think, Billy, you said something this morning, right? The three that they've narrowed down to. And I think one of them, and for some reason the guy's name's escaping me right now. The guy he coached with Tatum and Brown on the Team USA a couple years ago, and he's through Coach Popovich. He was on the Spurs. He's a really good coach. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. It's driving me nuts. But
where's he right now?
He was.
Is he the one with the Nets?
I think he's with the Nets.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Hideki Dubko or something like that.
That's good. That was close.
Whole new segment.
Let's go with it. It's a whole new segment.
Rubber Shoes pronounces names.
It'll be interesting to see if that's the hire, because they love him and they think I think both of them have given him like the head coach ready kind of stamp of approval. So, but I think it's big for Stevens to come out and say that. As for the trade itself, I mean, I looked at it as, like I said, look, you're going to save a bunch of money. Horford's going to come in. He's going to be more of a player coach than anything else. He's not as bad as Paul Millsap is, like in Miami, where they just keep signing him to like these ridiculous deals, like 1 year deals for his being the player coach. But he's going to be on that, and I'm hoping there's a buyout potential for like next season or the season after next to and then he retires or something. But I love the Moses Brown signing. He's a more athletic taco. You know what I mean by that, but
he was what? He just averaged just under a double this past season, so it's a good throw-in piece.
It really is. He's athletic. He runs the floor. He's I really like him. He reminds me a lot of that Claxton kid from the Nets, and a few others, and he could definitely he could play some healthy minutes.
So my question is though, who runs the point for the Celtics next year? I know we're not
player to be named later.
I would say this.
Big player
Brad is
to be
going to
named.
sit there and say everyone's available except for like I see them not getting rid of like Naismith or Pritchard, the rookies that actually saw some minutes and stuff like that. And Tatum and Brown. I think those are the four to me. They are guaranteed to come back next year. Smart. I would not be shocked if he's gone.
You think they would move Robert Williams?
I think they would. I think for the right deal, I think they would. Yeah. I don't think I think you brought Brown in to put some pressure on Williams, but Williams needs to stay healthy, and that's the biggest thing. Because Time Lord, I love Time Lord. I would love to see him stay, but I just don't. If you can't stay on the floor, it really sucks. And if the amount of equity that he just built this past postseason. You know what I mean? By setting like the franchise record in blocks, no offense to Bill Russell because the category wasn't tracked back then, but the fact that he just did that, you could get someone stupid and be like, oh, there's an injury, or a potential injury later on down the road or whatever, like it makes some kind of like a crazy trade. So I don't know, but
I think you can learn some lessons from the Nets a little bit, to be honest with you, because they had the three core guys, and not that they had a bad team around those three core guys. They had a decent team, but you saw one of them go down and be out. The other one was playing on one leg. Harden was playing on one leg. And so then you have one superstar and you just don't have the pieces around those superstars to carry them if they had been able to get out of game 7, possibly at least Harden heals up and Kyrie potentially has the ability to come back. They didn't have the pieces. The Celtics need to build that depth that they just don't have right now. And
that's a good point, Adam, because I mean, you're talking about a team that has the best player in the league right now.
Right.
Hands down. Kevin Durant is the best, most dominant player in the league right now. And, they couldn't get out because they didn't have the pieces around him. They tried, but, Griffin's a shell of himself. And obviously there were a bunch of injuries. I mean, DeAndre Jordan never even played a minute, so that team's going to be
that
nasty.
shot that he hit at the end of regulation
to force over. Oh my God.
I mean, they were like literally a centimeter away from making it to the
2 toes away
finals, but
2 toes away.
Incredible. But you're right though. I mean, they didn't have the pieces. The Celtics don't have the pieces, so they need to find the pieces as they move forward.
And I think the biggest thing out of this is the fact that they lost the 16th pick. Now, were they going to get someone? It's debatable they get someone that's as good as Moses Brown, at 16. Yeah. This is a decent draft. It's not outstanding. Your top 10 picks, are going to be very, very good for a while, and then it gets a bit dicey. But that's what I think. Like, really, this was more of just a salary dump, and I think it was like. He threw Kemba out there to a bunch of teams, and Oklahoma City was like the first one to be like, "You win, here you go." That's at least that's what I think really happened. But
so, what do you think? You think Kemba has a resurgence with OKC like Chris Paul has had with Phoenix, or you think he's basically fizzles out at this point?
I think he fizzles out. I honestly don't even know if he's going to stay in Oklahoma City very long. I could see him doing like almost like an Isaiah Thomas situation where he went to like Cleveland for a while and then he got shipped out right away because he went to Cleveland for the Kyrie trade and then he was injured, didn't really mesh there and then got shipped out. Now granted that contract numbers are totally different, but still I could see something happening where Kemba might not last that long. Maybe he works out. Maybe it's exactly what they need, but I mean, they got to build around Shai over there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that kid's a stud. And they should build around him. And I think that's what they're doing. Horford was just, he played 48 games. Now he averaged like 14 and 8 when he played, but he was just banged up and he just looked kind of slow. So if Horford comes in and he gives you a solid, 15 minutes per, and can get in like,
that's a win. That's a win.
It totally is. Yeah. 15 and he can like 15 minutes and gets you like 8 and 7 or something like that. I'd be thrilled.
And he's good in the
6 and 8.
He's good in the locker room too.
I think the biggest benefit of getting Horford is that it's going to help our show because if we just keep calling him Average Al, then his sister will chime in and all his sister's followers will stop following us. It'll be great. We'll have 1 million followers in no time.
Rubber Shoes seems to be the social media expert on the call.
He really is.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. Look, Tim. Come on, Tim. I mean, let's be honest. The Rubber Shoes wrap up is just racking up the views, pushing people to our link tree. I mean, no? Tim is silent. All right. Well, I hit a nerve.
Yeah. If I got nothing to say, there's something to say. But we're going to fight offline. That's for sure.
Meanwhile, the Nets sucked, huh?
The Nets are terrible.
But before we go to that joyful topic for me, what a pleasure. And I love Durant. I feel bad for him. I'm just going to remind everybody just so we can get re-angered by Danny Ainge again. Kevin Durant was his original. We almost had him.
Oh, yeah.
But he was basically dating Kevin's mother. And everybody was like, "Oh, this is in the bag. They're sitting together at all these games." Like it was like almost a done deal. Yeah. And then it wasn't a deal. So
we had Tom Brady go to
Brady
one of the meetings. Brady was there.
Poppy made a call. Poppy made a call.
We were this close. Like that's every time I see Durant, I just remember that was like
he's this close guy.
Close for Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Being said, so going back to Marcus Smart, Uncle Dukes, like what you said, you wouldn't be surprised if we saw him go. And like at this point, I sort of don't. I don't want to blow it up. I think somebody else that we don't want to lose because I think a lot of people are emotionally attached to Smart, right?
Yeah.
Like him because he's like he's a dirt dog, but at the same time, like you don't have to take every shot. Every time you have the ball doesn't mean you have to shoot for the hoop, right? You're allowed to pass. Let's start there, and then above and beyond that, I don't think it's this year. I think they spend a year together. But do you think that for us to grow, we can't keep both these kids. Like Jalen's probably got to go next year, right? Or does he go this year? And I'm asking everybody here because I know Uncle Dukes is like a serial killer with all the contracts. Like when like the 9th bench player for the Schenectady, Red Wings has like his contract maxed out and has to go. Yeah. So like, I'm just asking, when do you think Jalen goes? It's not this offseason.
No. He's locked in for the next. He's got a player option. He's got 2 years, and he's got a player option going into the 3rd from now. And it's a really good deal from a price perspective. And it's the same thing with Tatum. I mean, Tatum did the Supermax, but the Supermax has been obviously changed from this when he signed it last year.
Yep.
But it would have to be a blow you away type of a deal. And like, I don't see anyone. I just don't see anyone coming to the table, to do that. Unless, I mean, that's the thing. To me, I look at Jaylen Brown as like he is that second tier. He's barely below Tatum, but Tatum, and to me, and I'd argue this, he's in the conversation, or at least he will be, because the kid's still like 16 years old. Mm-hmm. I think he's just started drinking last year legally.
His son is older than him. I looked it up on Wikipedia.
It's crazy.
That's interesting.
And so he, he's just like right below that tier. But Tatum is going to be in that like Luka tier, pretty soon. Yeah. He's going to be in that tier. Oh, and you want to talk about getting pissed about Danny? Don't forget, Danny selected Kelly Olynyk over Giannis. If anyone just wanted to remember that, why Giannis is in the Eastern Conference Finals. But okay.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Kelly gave us some great moments, though.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk, you had me at flow.
But I don't know. I love Brown. I really, to me, I'm still a huge believer in both these kids.
Yeah, me too.
I say this. So to answer your question, for the short of it, I don't see them blowing it up with those two again, unless there's like this ridiculous deal, like Zion becomes available, which is a bunch of crap, by the way, that they move on at least the next 2 seasons. I think Brad's going to sit there and he's like, all right, this is my chance to build this team, but I want 2 years. I want this upcoming season and I want the next season. Yeah. Give me 2 years. Let me see what I can get, or let me see how I can do it, but I need 2. And I think that, to me, him accepting the job would probably have to have some kind of like this is what I want. And that's why, I don't get me wrong. I love Marcus Smart in a lot of his facets of his game, but it's only going to go so far. And honestly, there's a lot of like crap coming out now. I mean, it's not like, what was it? The 2011 Red Sox or whatever it was that had the chicken and beer situation going in the locker room and divided everything. But you're hearing a lot of stuff in the locker room, now where it was not great in there. There was a lot of issues and a lot of personalities clashing and stuff like that too. I feel like Smart's a part of that. So, if they have to move on from him, I don't think it would break anyone's heart.
Yeah, there was an article that came out today that one questioned Brad Stevens in the locker room about being able to get the star players to play. And then also that he loved Marcus Smart so much he wouldn't say anything to him about shooting when he shouldn't be shooting. So that's him loving Marcus Smart. I don't know if he'll trade him now, but he did also. Brad Stevens had a press conference today, and he was saying that he wants to get players to complement Brown and Tatum, and where he was the coach and was okay, I know what we need here. Hopefully that helps in the long run, where he's going to bring in guys that are going to complement those players.
This thing where they talk about the coach, though, not being able to get the star players to play for him. Like, isn't it on the players? I mean, Kemba Walker's making $73 million. You can't get him to play for you. Tatum's making the Supermax deal. He won't play for you. That's ridiculous. At some point, you got to put that at the feet of the players.
It's not like that anymore.
Welcome to the NBA.
I know, but it's
2021.
I understand it's not like that, but it's insane that it's not. It's insane.
It's until they change their ways and they don't let the star players get away with murder, then it's right. I mean, look at the Nets. They let them do. They're not going to tell Durant and Irving and Harden not to do something. They're just going to be like, okay. Well,
Irving was the epitome of that. You know what I mean?
Irving, these assholes will just walk off the court.
And, he just took off.
Yeah,
he friggin' took off. He's like, I got some family business. Yeah, your birthday, you dick. So you leave your friggin' team for 6 games.
I know.
You're gone for 2 weeks to celebrate your 27th birthday, which doesn't mean a damn thing. And really, you can't come back in like 2 freaking weeks. It messed my fantasy team up. I almost lost.
Oh,
I won. Don't worry, I won the champmpionship. But that's besides.
have a
thank
great
God,
week,
thank
everybody.
God.
Try the veal.
Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Shane. But yeah, you know, it's Rubber Shoes is right. I mean,
It's not.
it is the most, more so than the NFL, definitely more so than baseball. It is the most like the players have the most influence when it comes to basketball, without a doubt.
Well, in the NFL, it's really only like the really top tier guys that can get away with it.
Right. And you don't see it very often. Even like the stuff with Rodgers that's pulling right now. Aaron Rodgers is, you know, it's Aaron Rodgers, but it's still not to the point where I feel like if LeBron pulled this stuff or whatever, there'd be like moves, there'd be things happening.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Because that's
the Pelicans got rid of their coach because of Zion.
Yeah.
Mavericks got he resigned. Rick Carlisle resigned, but it was because of Luka. And who knows? Maybe Brad Stevens is not the coach because Tatum said, "Hey, I don't like playing for him."
I'm sure that'll come out at some point.
Yeah,
Eventually. So speaking of New Jersey, Brooklyn, doesn't matter. The Nets. I mean, again, hats off to Durant. I love that Durant's mom was chirping. I forget who she was chirping.
Tucker. PJ Tucker.
That was hysterical.
But they're buddies, though, right? The two of them.
They went to Texas together.
Yeah. Because then he said, "I love you," and she's like, "I love you too," and she put her mask back up. But that was awesome. And he was asked after the game, "Are you okay with the loss because your personal performance was so good?" Which that's
such an NBA question. It's like ridiculous.
You're certainly right in that regard. But just like I was like, really in this minute, because he didn't even have. He's got must have felt like all the pressure in the world to get it done.
Yeah,
And God Almighty, he almost did, right? In the grand scheme of things.
He did.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess it's just, does this start to evaporate what we saw as we got to the end of the season and with the playoffs, starting to evaporate the mindset that, to your earlier point, Scotty, all you need is big three. Like you need the 3 boulders or the 3 rocks. You can fill the rest in with gravel and sand. Doesn't seem to be holding true because you had LeBron by himself, and that wasn't enough, right? And then above and beyond that, when you watch, and even with the whole load management conversation with the NBA throughout the year, you know, they started they were getting braggadocious in Brooklyn, like, well, the playoffs will be the first time that we consistently played together as a team.
Right.
They had the luxury of parking people, and do you feel like that caught up to them, that they weren't playing enough together, that brought on some of these injuries? I don't know. Is Kyrie just,
according to LeBron, that's why.
Or his feelings hurt? Like, why did he leave the court? Because because it's hurt and injured, and I'm not sure where Kyrie fell in all this.
I honestly think that was a nasty. I mean, my ankles are all jacked up. I saw that. I was like, that was nasty. I didn't feel an ounce of, you know, sympathy for the guy at all, but, you know, not even a little bit. But, you know, it's funny because it's so hard because you let's break down the final 4 teams, right? Out West, you got the Clippers and the Suns.
Right.
And game 1, no Kawhi, no CP3, right? And obviously it was a fantastic game, but it was like you didn't have, Devin Booker's a stud. Love him to death. Right. You know, he's awesome to watch. And Paul George actually showed up for 3/4 of a playoff game, so that was good for him. But for the most part, it's more just like you said, it's just role players. A lot of like very good, talented players, but no like studs. Then you look at the East. You got the Hawks. God bless them. You know what I mean? Like you got Trae Young, again, young kid, stud. You know, coming along, and John Collins as well. Who, by the way, when he wore that T-shirt with him dunking on Embiid, moment of the playoffs.
The fact that he had a shirt on for Game 7 with an actuality from Game 6.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like,
awesome. And you know that's like one of it. Like, well, I mean, obviously they've all got entourages, but like, you know, somebody's just like, you posted him.
You have to do
the
this
shirt. You're gonna wear that after Game 7 when you guys shut this down.
Exactly. And then you got the Bucks. The Bucks, I mean, they don't have a big 3, but they have, you know, obviously Giannis, but Middleton, and they brought in Holiday in the offseason, you know, to help them. I wouldn't call them a big 3, but then they have their other role guy like Pat Connaughton and others that are, you know, that are good. But it's such an injury-plagued postseason this year, like crazy. I mean, Embiid was playing on basically like a torn meniscus, which, by the way, the fact that he's dropping like 30 and 15, and you got Kyrie over there. Yeah, it was an ankle sprain, but then he didn't play at all. And, Harden, who has the hamstring, but played like crap. I just throwing that out there, like, wow, it's pretty impressive. But it's hard to say it's for sure if you have the big three and you throw, some, aging veterans and, a couple of decent players around them, that's not going to work anymore because there were so many, like Anthony Davis didn't play, he was hurt a lot. There's a lot of that stuff that was just, but yeah, I think, and Adam, I think you said it too, is that they need to, they're going to build around these guys, between Tatum and Brown, but they need to put in like good quality, solid basketball players and people that know their role. Yeah. You look back at the championship teams, like the Garnett team, right? Anything is possible team. Everyone on that team, from Leon Poe all the way up to KG and Pierce and everyone knew their role, right? And they knew it for like 3 or 4 seasons, even when they drafted Big Baby and whatever and all this other stuff. Everyone kind of had their role and had their niche, and they filled it really well. That's the kind of stuff that you need to have, especially if you do have a big three. People need to swallow pride and be able to do that. And I think you're seeing that in the Final Four teams here, where people kind of know their role and they grind and they play hard. Because NBA playoff basketball is totally different than the regular season. It really is. Yeah.
And that 08 team too, it wasn't any one of the big three that was carrying them in every single game, right? Like the Nets, you've got Durant or Harden that's going to carry you in every game. Right. You don't have a guy coming off the bench that's going to put up 20, 25 points.
Right.
The Celtics the 08 Celtics had that.
Right.
I can't remember the guy's name who they had, but they had a sixth guy off the bench that would all consistently come in and give you energy. And that's like, I think that's what you're saying too. On the, when you're playing 40 minutes, you're gassed at the end of the game, no matter how good you are, no matter how well you're conditioned, it doesn't matter. You're gassed. So you need a guy that's going to come in with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and be able to drop, 4 or 5 points just to give you that energy or make a steal.
Right. Something. And then you're thinking of James Posey, by the way.
Posey. Sure. Thank you. Exactly.
That's I was a huge James Posey fan.
Me too. I loved him too. And he was the guy. He would come in. He was an energy guy. And that's what, Marcus Smart, to me, I'd rather see Marcus Smart come off the bench. Because Marcus Smart is a bench guy. He's a guy that's going to come in and he's going to take over for your starting guard, and he's going to get you a stop. He's going to get you a 3. Now, everybody holds their breath when he shoots a 3, but he'll get you one every once in a while. And he's that energy guy. That's why it always struck me that he was in the starting 5. I never liked that. I'd love to see him. I know they don't have the pieces to have him come off the bench right now, but I would love to see that happen.
Well, they do.
So who is the starting 5 then?
Right now, they don't have one. Right. I mean, you're going to have.
But that's it, right? That's exactly right.
Well, I mean, if I was like gun to my head today, right? If it was me, you put Peyton Pritchard at the 1. To me, I think you need to move Brown and keep him at the 2. Put him at shooting guard. Don't make him a 3.
Yeah.
Take Tatum out of the 4. Put him at the 3.
Right.
You got to fill the 4. And I honestly would say you want either Robert Williams, and then you could have Thompson at your 5. You know what I mean? And just because at that point you're funneling almost the entire offense, to the wing players, where Williams and Thompson can kind of clean things up. And now you have Horford and, Moses coming off the bench to kind of like, to fill those roles as well as, Naismith and others. But, it just, I don't think Tatum's a 4, and I think Brown could play the 3, but I would rather have them back in their natural positions of the 2 and the 3. And I think that'll be a big thing, but they do need to fill the point guard position.
And Fournier,
if he comes back, he's a free agent. So, if he comes back, it'll be interesting to see what his asking price is. He hasn't actually, nothing's come out, and the market, clearly the market's not set. It doesn't usually get set until after the season, from a free agent perspective, but I'll be interested to see how much he wants. Now they do free up a bunch of money getting rid of Kemba, so potentially they could bring him back. Or does he want to start?
For a negotiating tactic, they should put a reel together of all the times he got blown by in the playoffs. I mean, the dude got blown by more times than I could possibly count. Just throw that all together, send it to his agent, and be like, "You're not getting a max deal. Sorry, buddy. You're not."
But that's just I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Who do you think the person that what's the contract that's up, or the person that's going to be in the marketplace in the off season that you would love to see us get?
So for me, I would love Collins. I'm a big John Collins fan. He's still young. He could spread the floor. He's relatively injury free. He's had some a couple of minor tweaks here and there, but nothing crazy. He's athletic. He's gonna want quite a bit of money, so I don't know if it'll end up happening. But if we live in the world of like unicorns and skittle rainbows and stuff, then yeah, I would love to see John Collins come here. I'm a huge fan of him. There's going to be other guys that might. That's the thing too. It's hard because you have a lot of player options that people may opt out. Like Kawhi's got one. There's a few others that are out there, but it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. But yeah, right now, just like the regular unrestricted free agents, to me, I would, because then you fill that power forward need, right?
Yeah.
You still have the point guard need, but you could fill that with a couple of different guys, in my opinion. The other thing is how much do you trust Pritchard? Because I thought he played really, really well until he got either COVID or he got hurt or something. He missed some time, and then he really kind of came back and struggled. And then
he was strong in the playoffs, though.
I thought he was too.
Decent. I wouldn't say he's like a superstar, obviously.
But but the other thing is then you have like other guys that can bring the ball up the court too. You could move Tatum into like a point forward type of position too. But yeah, so I don't know. I would love to see someone like that, but that's probably not going to happen. So.
So that's my next question. What do you guys think is most likely to happen? Like what should I, the uneducated guy that was swinging his golf club at the cart on Friday morning when I heard we got Al back, because I didn't really understand the math behind it. And when I found out the math, $73 million, I wanted to unlearn everything at that point. Yeah. So like, what should I expect? What should Celtics fans expect?
I honestly don't think Adams far off. I wouldn't be surprised if they did bring back Fournier. That would be something I could see, that they're going to bring back like maybe some mid-level guys. Because here's the other thing too: is Brad going to keep Danny's leftovers? Romeo Langford,
Semi Ojale.
Semi's going to be a free agent. No, I'm thinking of the other guard, Cameron. Is it Cameron? What is his name? The other kid that played up in Maine a ton too. But you have these these tweener guards that are like
Waters.
Yeah. And then is he gonna keep them, or is he gonna look to something else?
Yeah.
Because for the first time in a while, the Celtics really don't have a great selection of picks coming up. They just don't. So I could see them bringing in Evan or like some other mid-level type of a player.
I think having picks is a little bit overrated, though, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously we've had picks galore for, a decade now. And what have we turned it into? I mean, I'm not saying Tatum wasn't obviously a good pick and Brown was a good pick, but all the other things we've done with those draft picks have done next to nothing.
Carson Edwards. I'm thinking of Carson Edwards, by the way.
Carson Edwards. That's right.
Yeah. Tremont Waters, Carson Edwards, and Romeo Langford.
He's tiny. Isn't Carson Edwards tiny?
They all are. They're all not huge. I mean, they're not. They're all either between 6'2" and 5'11".
They're not Taco Fall.
Yeah.
And it's
Taco Fall. Yeah.
Right. And it's I just don't understand what Danny was doing there with those picks. To your point, Adam, we had a ton of picks, and those are the guys they brought in. And it's just, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Brad wants to do, if he's going to, again, put his stamp on this and say, I want to build it my way.
Yeah.
Right. Moving away from basketball, manager's choice. You guys can pick. Do you want to talk about sticky balls or little balls? Pick one.
I think Rubbish you should pick. Since we're talking about balls.
Yeah, let's go with baseball right now.
We're going. All right. So we're going with baseball. And as we joke about sticky balls, Red Sox holding their own, which is awesome. But everyone's attention really isn't on their personal team. It's on the bigger picture of this league that can't get out of its own way. They are finding, and this is the argument that I have, and we're going to get to the US Open and the one sport that I'm willing to waste 4,000 hours every weekend watching, right? Because the contention is, especially for kids, and I appreciate this for a younger age group when it comes to baseball, you're losing the kids, you put the World Series on at 3 a.m, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
It's so slow. There's no action, all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate all that. And I feel that same way too sometimes. Like for me, it's not like college basketball or a pro game. Like, and I know Scotty feels differently. He's like, if there was a camera, if Peacock had a camera in the locker room, he'd watch the pregame talk when it comes to basketball. I appreciate that. For me, with the Celtics and stuff, I'm going to catch the end, right? Or whatever. Like I'm not that well invested in like watching the whole NBA game. Like you will watch all of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, Scotty Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's on the payroll.
I will too.
I will not. I will watch the women's overseas LPGA non-championship.
Okay.
Hey, I like the Euro Tour. I like the Euro Tour.
Girls in skirts tapping balls at them. I tell you to look into it. But anyway, so that being said, like golf doesn't move quickly, but obviously the way they've set it up now, and if you're watching it, if you watch the US Open over the weekend, which we're gonna get to in a second, they've got it set up that it's just you're always watching somebody doing something. There's so many people, on the course, obviously. Right. But the whole baseball world right now, and it's starting tonight, as Rubber Shoes talked about earlier, it's starting tonight with they are going to start an inspection process in between every inning. So this is going to add to the length of the game.
Sure.
Because now I still have to come out and throw my warm-ups before the inning starts. And there's going to be a process in which they're checking all the pitchers on a regular basis for whatever they're attacking the balls with. Because there's like a few different suspects out there about what they're actually using. It was rosin and sunscreen. Then there's the stickum theory. There's something else that I forget what the
spider tack.
The spider tack. What is happening? Like, do they just close this thing we call baseball? What are they doing? And I know, and I heard myself like thinking driving home last week, like I was completely off the rails. I'm just like, just let everybody cheat. I don't feel that way. Like I can hear my inner Kevin Branco saying that because that's how Coach K feels. Yeah. Like just let everybody cheat. Who cares? Needles in their asses, cocaine, doesn't matter. Swing bat, hit home run, win trophy.
It was more fun when they did that. I mean, really, let's be honest. It's more fun.
Yeah. And nobody on the 2004 Red Sox did steroids.
Not.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. Yeah.
Of course not. Come on.
Of course not. Of course. So, I mean, so what is this like Rubber Shoes has probably spent the most time looking into this. What does the process look like on the Red Sox game? Like tonight, are they tonight? Are they on an off day? And
tomorrow night. Yeah, they're off tonight.
So tomorrow night, if you're watching the Red Sox or any major league game, because there's going to be initially some focus on this. I'm sure they'll miss a commercial break to keep a camera on the mound. They're going to be checking belts, like everything. They have to, right? Like they said, there was a whole process they were going to go through of inspecting each pitcher.
Yeah, I think they're doing, so the starting pitchers, they're not checking them every inning. I believe the starting pitchers, when they leave the game, they're going to inspect them. The relievers, they'll inspect them every time after an inning. And I mean, they're even good. They can even inspect the catcher because the catcher could be wearing the stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how much the umps are actually going to enforce it, or if they're just going to be like, come on, let's just get on and play with it.
All right. So devil's advocate, if I'm the starting pitcher for the Red Sox, and I'm not, thank God. And they're checking me out on the way in and then not again until 7 2/3 innings in. What if they catch me with stuff like that? So then they find some substance on the inside of my belt or on the inside of my visor. Is that going to negate everything that just happened in the 7 2/3 innings? Does the other team find out about it and the game closes under protest?
No, I don't think. I think it's just going to be
full of shit on fire. It's
right now. It's suspension, 10 games. You can't replace the player on the roster, so the team loses that player for the roster. It initially they were talking about something about the managers getting fined and suspended, but I think they've moved away from that. They're putting it strictly on the players.
Is it really such a giant advantage? Like I didn't, I played baseball like in Little League. I didn't play it in anything higher than that. Is it really such an advantage to have a little stickiness to the ball?
Well, so this is what happened. It's the analytics. It's the baseball nerds that put the focus on spin rate. And for these guys that want to get a payday, that's why they're doing it. I don't know if it makes a pitcher better or worse. It definitely, they're able to move the ball better. Okay. Like they can throw, but because they're saying they could just throw it right down the middle, and it's got so much movement on it because of the spin rate, and that's the biggest thing. But it,
How
I
is
don't
it?
know.
It doesn't sound like it's worth getting suspended for 10 games,
No, I mean,
especially as a pitcher.
Although
That's a lifetime.
Garrett Richards for the Red Sox has been crying about it for a week.
Super fast.
A lot of pitchers have. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing too. And I also wonder too, because I mean the the hard heads about like, oh, there's so many strikeouts and blah blah and all this stuff. And I wonder if that was like a part of the last couple of seasons. Everyone's been talking about how many strikeouts there are in baseball now. There's so many strikeouts, and
Well, also it's the launch angle thing for the batters. They're
that too. But yeah,
again, the baseball nerds say that it's more productive to hit a home run than to get a walk or a base hit.
Yeah.
So that it's all the analytics that's ruining the game.
But I would say honestly, to me, it's like you even talking about like the basketball stuff where like all the injuries and stuff like that too. You got a guy, the kid from Tampa Bay that came out and, I thought had a very, very good, like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 minute rant on this and saying like how he, at first he didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. And then he threw one start and he's like, I'm the next day he was so sore. He actually ended up needing to go on, like he had to miss a start or something, but because the way he had to grip the ball. And he's like, I had to grip it totally different than what I've had to before. And from a safety perspective, like if I'm a hitter, to me, I honestly don't mind if you have a little extra something on there, so I don't get beamed with a 98 mile an hour in the freaking head. You know what I mean? At least that's the way I look at it. It's like, yeah, all right, fine. Like, if you really need that, then I'm okay with.
So basically, he's saying that he's been cheating since Little League because he can't grip the ball without the super tack. So these guys been pitching their whole lives, and then everyone else is doing it in the majors, so I'm going to start doing it. So he's never pitched before without using illegal substance. Is basically what he's admitting.
But I don't know if I would go that far to look at exactly what he said, but I would say that without something, he would need something. And to like to help him. But I mean, maybe
every team has admitted though, like when the balls come in, they absolutely a lot of the fields have like that Georgia red clay, which is basically the dirt. Like they are usually like sifting it in a bucket of that just to get they're taking the sheen off the ball. The NFL does this too. This is deflate gate with Brady all over again. And people, whether they deflated or overinflated, because I think at that time, going back to the NFL, when the focus was on Brady, which is so stupid, because go back to that game, and after the NFL went in and blew the balls up,
right,
he hung an additional 30 points on the Colts, but
pay
no attention to the pesky facts. Let's get back to Brady's crucifixion, right?
Yeah,
stupid. So, but everybody has said, you bring the balls in and they're dirting them up and scuffing them up to get them ready. I mean, for each pitcher's preference, but at the same time, they are then going to the umpire. The umpire can see the condition of the balls. And I know we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about the end user, the pitcher having something, on their belt or on their visor or whatever. I do agree, because honestly, in the grand scheme of things, if you've been brought up, like, we just did a lacrosse tournament over the weekend. All the kids are talking about how they tape their sticks, how the guys in professional lacrosse league tape their sticks. Like, they are watching the people above them, how they're doing it. Why wouldn't I tape my stick like Paul Rabel if I know how he does it and how it's worked for him?
Right.
I would start to do that. So if I know that Clemens put a needle in his ass, I might investigate it. If I find out that Wakefield used to spit on his fingers and use sunscreen and a little rosin, maybe I'm going to do that if I'm trying to throw a knuckleball. So I think, the wide receiver conversation. Jerry Rice said this. He's like, if I had those gloves on, I'd still be playing. Like those tacky gloves. I am 5'9" and buoyant, and I could probably climb a wall with those on, right? I turn into spider fat. I'll like climbing a wall. They're so tacky, right?
Yeah.
There's there's so many technical advantages now. I think it's ridiculous that they are going to slow this game. They're going to not defund. It's not Washington. They're going to defund this game.
Defund
with this. Yes. They're going to defund baseball.
And also, look, can we just be honest about it? It's just for entertainment purposes. I mean, we go back to this. It's like, who gives a shit? Like, so your guy's doing it and the other guy's doing it. Great. Okay. Let's see who can do it better. Who cares? It's just for entertainment.
Tomorrow night, the pregame, Jerry's going to interview Cora. And Cora, again, Cora's near another fire, but he's not an arsonist.
No, of course not.
Right. Yeah. So Jerry's going to interview Cora. And while they talk about the purity of baseball, they're going to go to a commercial break and it's going to be DraftKings.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Make sure you get your bet in before we start cheating. You know?
Right. Like, who
Oh
cares?
my God. You know,
it doesn't matter. Just let everybody do everything and it'll be an even playing field. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And, Rubber Shoes, I think last week you were mentioning McGuire and Sosa and how it tainted the record books. Yeah, it probably did. But you know what? Let's start a new record book because it's a totally new world.
Just throw the record book out. Don't even worry about it. So that's I heard that today because
nothing to say.
Now the football added a game. So now they're talking about, okay,
Right.
who's going to beat the passing yard, who's going to beat Manning's passing yards, who's going to catch more touchdowns, who's going to have more touchdowns because they get the extra game now. So no, they don't care about the records. So
and nobody will ever go undefeated again, right?
That's why
17-0. Nobody's going to go 17-0.
That's why Rice was like all up in arms about when Randy Moss broke his record. He broke it in 14 games. Moss broke it or set it in 14, and he broke it in 16.
Right.
That's why the record books are so stupid. The rules are changing constantly. And it's, I mean, let's just admire that Jerry Rice was an excellent, top-notch receiver. And so was Randy Moss. So he had 2 extra games. Big friggin' deal. Just, admire what they did and move on. We don't need it.
I think the other sports are good with it. It's baseball. And you look at it when they do the Hall of Fame for the baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's so stats oriented. It's like, oh, well, he didn't have 400 wins, so he's not even, we can't even talk about him, even though it was a I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, these guys don't pitch more than 5 innings now. What are they going to, he doesn't have enough innings pitched to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Or his WAR wasn't enough for, it was like only 3 or whatever, wins above replacement shit. Yeah.
If we're actually going to talk about crimes at Fenway, let's go back to Scotty Dukes about 4 weeks ago and talk about the price of parking. The hot dogs.
That's right.
Right. That's where the real crime is taking place.
Absolutely. 100%.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this week because it's all starting tonight, correct?
Yes. Today's the first day.
I cannot imagine when it gets to a rivalry game like the Yankees.
Yeah.
Red Sox Yankees, usually a 7-hour game. Now might be 8. It's going to be like a mini series,
I'm going Saturday night. I won't be there for the end of the game. That's for sure.
Who do we have Saturday?
The Yankees.
It is the Spank Mace.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Phenomenal.
Where are you sitting, Rubber Shoes?
I am sitting on the right field roof box.
Oh,
nice.
Hoy,
nice
spot.
Yeah, I've never sat there before, so I don't know. I've never sat up there. This will be my first time.
They have the waiters and stuff up there. That's good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. That's good. It's good.
He called Putnam and said, "I'm an employee. I'd like tickets." Mr. Kramer, we have to let you go. I don't work here. That's what makes this so difficult. Rubber Shoes.
Seinfeld.
Thank you,
always
Putnam
makes it
employees. I don't work here. But do you have burgers and tots? That's my question.
Burgers and tots.
That's my question. Oh boy. So we'll see what goes on with the weird world of baseball.
It's gonna really ruin baseball for me, I have to say.
It's
already happened.
We'll see. We'll see. Want to talk about the U.S. Open, and super important to remember that at the Memorial just a few weeks ago, John Rahm got pulled off the course with a 6-stroke lead.
Right.
The purse for first place in that Memorial, Jackson Memorial, was $1 million. So it was really, and he opened right up when they talked to him after he wrapped it up yesterday, because Louis decided to implode along with Brooksy. DeChambeau imploded on the back 9 as well. Rahm said, "I believe in karma," and it's so true that it all came full circle. His parents were there. His wife was there with his newborn son. Super cool to see that course, like the rough at Torrey. They were showing there was so many social media memes, but they would like somebody would walk over with a camera and you couldn't see anything, and then you just start to move blades of grass, and there were it was like me on a Saturday. They were everywhere, scattered everywhere, and it's just
that's
such
every
a-
US Open they do the cut like that, because that's why the scores are usually pretty down low, because they make the rough so tough that you got to keep it in play.
it was
Actually,
unbelievable.
we could do a ATB next year. Next year it is from Brookline, Massachusetts.
I would
Oh.
so they ran
Let's get some
they
press
ran that
passes.
ad yesterday. The commercial runs, and I turned to Janine, I'm like, it's at the country club in Brookline. So she goes on. The servers are already crashed.
Yeah, I tried too.
Yeah, the servers are already crashed. Well, she works for a company that does imaging for sports venues.
Okay.
Her company, I can give them a shameless plug, AMI out of Stratford. They do everything at the Garden. Super cool.
Oh,
So
wow,
everything
okay.
you see at the Garden, you watch a Bruins game, you'll see AMI on the boards. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of really big contracts, tons of colleges as well. I said, you got to get the Open. Like they're just going to call and grab that from the PGA. So our sales support girl, Janina, her husband would like free passes, and he's got a friend, Rubber Shoes, that works for Putnam. Could you get him into? And you have burgers and tots.
Did you know that they have a podcast? We really should broadcast live from the event.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it from the second cut. It'll be called All the Balls. ATB.
I've been to an event there. I don't know if you guys ever gone to one. We went to a PGA.
The Deutsche Bank?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much fun. So much fun.
I
Yeah,
mean,
just
it's
walk
not. It's
around.
not too late. It's not too late. We could work on some, pushing some
Yeah.
strength, pulling some
I followed
strings.
Phil.
If we could get
for like
a
3
few
holes. It was
followers
awesome.
on social media, I'm sure we'd really push our influence through the roof. Yeah.
I went to the Deutsche Bank back when Tiger was in his prime. Oh my God, the difference of the sound that when he hits a ball compared to everyone else was amazing.
Wow.
Not as much clapping for you. Yeah.
No,
I saw that, not to get way off topic. There was a picture of you and Little Shoes golfing because you do your Father's Day
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I don't know if you guys caught that picture. He's about
No.
9. I will bring it up. It is worth a look. Hang on, stand by.
Did everyone golf this? Because I golfed this weekend too. I was up at.
I did not. I did not go.
I golfed Friday because we had Aiden's tournament Saturday and Sunday.
Does
Yeah,
playing
golf.
croquet in your backyard count as golfing?
Totally.
It
Oh, it does. Okay, no. All right.
sure.
I played Saturday and Sunday.
I played 2 rounds of croquet. Does that count?
Ooh,
That's the front 9 and the back 9.
I played 18 on Sunday at Old Marsh up in
Oh, all right.
Wells, Maine.
The old man. That's a good spot.
Yeah, guy.
Good spot.
That's a honestly a lot of fun. I like that course a lot. It's a good course. I recommend.
Well, it's built into a neighborhood. Like that's one of
It
the
is where Louis Tiant lives.
How many windows did you break?
I didn't break any.
that's good.
I was
That's good.
pretty proud of myself there. I didn't land in anyone's backyard. So
Here it is. Oh,
Look
I
at
like
Little
that.
Shoes.
yeah.
Yes. Little shoes. Which one's little shoes? You can't even tell.
Unbelievable, right?
Rubber shoes is really the tiny one.
Yep.
Oh my God. I
He
like
had
that
on- he had
you
on
wore the camo to blend in with the
cargo.
I
cargo.
was about to say that too. The camo is
Finest camo cargos for the golf tournament.
Yes.
amazing. That's awesome.
Oh,
While
boy.
we're talking about Rubber Shoes clothes, I just want to say that I'm not sure Scotty will ever come back on the show because Rubber Shoes has got the guns out again.
I know.
It seems like
I
every
know.
time Scotty's on the call, Rubber Shoes is wearing a tank top and flexing. It's
Yeah.
I gotta
It's a little
get
embarrassing.
my game going. I guess you know.
Yeah.
I'm on
Like 2 weeks early
vacation.
for 4th of July though with that tank top. You're a couple weeks early.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm
what
on-
this is all about? So he gets a hold of me this afternoon. He goes, "We got to run a tech. We got to do a dry run on the tech." He goes, "I've got my setup outside." I'm like, "Oh dear Lord." So I checked in with him earlier. Again, 227. He's on the stoop,
yeah.
and he was fine for about an eighth of a second. Then he started cutting in and out.
Yeah.
It was like he was broadcasting live from Jupiter or Uranus, your choice. And we determined that he needed to go back inside. So you're on vacation, but this is not the Cape Cod vacation. I'm so confused.
No.
Okay.
It's day trips. We're gonna take a few days up at North Conway, so there'll be some
Nice.
live Rubber Shoes wrap ups from North Conway in the next few
I
days.
thi- you should do
Live
it on
from the no coat. You know, well, here is Little Shoes going.
Yeah.
Is Steph going?
Yep.
I know that. It's a rhetorical question. Is she holding your credit card? Because you know what's in North Conway, Adam.
Oh, the outlets. Nike outlet.
Oh my God. All the LeBrons you can eat.
The LeBron 1 through 38. It's coming home with them.
Jordans. Unbelievable.
Why do we not have a picture of the lanai, though? Honestly, we need a picture of that. Can you take a picture, Rubber Shoes? I need to have this visual. I mean, I'm feeling like Jack K is right upstairs.
You can jump from the backs. I couldn't jump because I don't. Somebody, Scotty Dukes could jump. Rubber Shoes could jump. I think for Little Shoes, he just fall into it. But yet from the back step to their pool,
Yeah, it's just a jump.
it's right there.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
a little more than that, but it's
A hop, skip, and a
pretty
dip.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get you a mesh network so we can get broadcasting from out there?
We'll try. I have to have that conversation with Timmy. I definitely have to get some
Let's
upgrades
work on
going.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need a non-pile microphone and a mesh network. Would be really good.
Yes, we are officially canceling whatever conversations he's in with Pyle right now, and it's exactly what you think it is. Our friends at Pyle. We're gonna get Rubber Shoes an XLR microphone if it kills us. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Scotty Dukes back to the Open and balls stuck in rough. When we were going into yesterday and joking about DraftKings again, I was thinking like I wanted, because you can obviously the odds are different, the money would be different, but you could pick somebody on Sunday morning. You know, it's all super adjusted because it's almost a fait accompli. But I was like John Rahm. I was hoping for Rory, really was like he's playing so well, but he fell apart. And Bryson, I mean, they're cutting the commercial and he's like 14th hole, and you're like, oh, this is done. This is done. He's just charging things. I mean, he's dropping great putts, and then he just melted. He had an 8. Like I was insulted.
He said he didn't have a meltdown.
Nobody takes a snowman away from me. I am in charge of the 8s and the 9s.
I felt worse for Mackenzie. Did you see that? I mean, yeah, he shanked it to the left, but I mean, or it ended up in the freaking tree, and just like, I mean, that I felt so bad for that kid because he was just creaming his pants going into Sunday, thinking like I'm in right at the top of the leaderboard.
Yep.
Got a chance here, but no, not so much. I felt bad for him, but yeah, Bryson just, I mean, wow, that was just atrocious, and he just blamed it on just the sport.
Yeah.
And golf.
I hate what he said. They asked him, you know, with where you were and where it ended, are you upset? And he's like, no, I brushed it off. And the end was very dismissive. And if I was Johnny Rahm, I'd want to kick him in the nuts the next time I see him. He's like, yeah, you know, I brush it off. He goes, you know what? It's basically throughout it is what it is. And I've won this one before.
Oh
yeah.
Like, dude,
yeah, I heard that too.
Like that was, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I appreciate his dorkiness, and I appreciate that he's brought the science into it and the steroids. Clearly, like he's lifting, he's doing all the things to create club head speed and all that kind of stuff. It's maddening to watch. Like, I feel like if he took 20% off of his swing, he'd stay in the fairway. Like the McGilla Gorilla show is starting to get a little old, yet it got him to where he needed to be yesterday. And then he melts down, and then to say that at the end, like you want to be in his camp, but you fall out of it real quick. And then, you know, of course, Koepka, everybody was hoping they would get matched up at least by the Saturday pairings, and it still didn't happen. And that would have been phenomenal because they
put
will.
Brooks had like a little charge like mid-afternoon too.
What's that? Yeah,
Brooks had like a little. He charged a little bit in the afternoon, and then kind of fell off. But I would have loved to seen those two together. Oh my god. That's got to happen.
The PGA is dying for it to happen. You know, that would be a huge ratings boost. And the other thing, don't forget, and we're only a couple of weeks away from it now, is that Tuesday, July 6th, the match is coming.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that's we got Bryson, and who's Bryson teamed up with? Bryson's teamed up with
Aaron Rodgers, if he shows up.
And Brady's with Mickelson. If he shows up. So true. Maybe he's going to cut an episode of Jeopardy. Who knows?
Yeah.
If he shows up. Well said, Rubber Shoes. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So what do we have? There any grappling coming up that we need to know about before we head into the week and the weekend?
I gotta go.
No, there was a pay-per-view last night. The Hell in the Cell was last night. but there's nothing
Hell
coming
in
up
the
this
cell.
week. Yeah, I think in a couple
Was that
weeks.
did
there's one,
anything
but
come out of it? Usually they have like some big, storyline movement, right? At
the
a pay-per-view.
so WWE needs to get in front of live fans so bad. They built this
Let's keep our
arena
opinions
that's
to
all
ourselves.
they built this arena that's all
Screens.
like screens,
Yeah.
and the sound in it is horrible. It sounds like there's a beehive in there constantly the whole show, and there's no interaction with the fans. It's awful. Like the other brand of wrestling has been in front of fans this whole time because they figured out a way to beat COVID and have live fans
they?
almost the whole time, and it's so much better. You
And I-
can't do it.
I think the important question is, how do you feel about the steroid controversy, Rubber Shoes?
With what? With
I'm just
they
joking.
test now.
I'm just really they
They
test.
they actually will test and suspend people, but then it's funny when they come back from suspension, they're 3 times bigger than they were when they left, because when you're suspended, you technically are not working for the product anymore, so you can do whatever they want because
Oh.
they don't test you during that time.
Well, that's ridiculous because the Rock Dwayne Johnson, all his records are going to be bullshit now because they're testing for steroids. I mean, let's be honest.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
They're all gonna go out the window. I got to tell you, Rubber Shoes, we were coming back. 495 was a junk show yesterday, leaving Aiden's tournament, and we were heading back to Chelmsford to stop to see my mom and pick up Francis. And we decided to jump off, and we're coming up 110. And we passed your alma mater, and we're driving by. And I said to Aiden, I said, that's where Uncle Rubber Shoes was starting quarterback, starting pitcher. And Janina's like, really? I'm like, yeah. She's like, and he still likes wrestling. I said, all the great athletes from my friendship, all like Coach K, right? Kevin, starting quarterback, like all the things. Kevin Branco was captain of the varsity boys tennis team at Chelmsford High when he was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
Run that math. Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah,
would
like,
never
they just-
happen now.
They pulled him over. They're like, we're just going to have you do this. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, all my friends who were great athletes are great athletes. You are a great athlete. I didn't mean to use the past tense. I'm sorry.
Affirmations, daily affirmations.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And Al Horford's back. They absolutely adored wrestling, and Rubber Shoes is one of the inflicted. That's fine.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
Where did
saw
Scotty
Scott.
go?
We lost Scotty. It's
He
sort
just
of funny.
dropped off.
We're making fun of the dial up in Lowell, and
But he lives in Maine.
we just lost the Berwicks. Yeah. So he's like, if I blink heavy, like he did this, he went.
Yeah. And he's gone.
He's like, I'm gonna do the heavy blink. He probably had Amy come in and just click out. He's like, dinner's ready, but I don't want to tell the guys I'm leaving. Burgers and tots. Well, Uncle Dukes is telling us to go, so we shall go.
Yes.
We
should delve into Rubber. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tim. We should delve into Rubber Shoes' historic performances in high school because I would like to hear more about that.
Oh, we can do that.
On another episode. On another episode.
Absolutely.
The Al Bundy episode.
Yes. Poke high, baby. I can throw this football over the mountains. Uncle Rico, we appreciate you joining us for the show. I'm not counting, but I'm counting. This is episode 11, boys.
Wow.
Look at that.
Crushing it.
Still haven't been shut down yet.
Yeah.
We
So
appreciate
that
you
means
joining us.
next week I got to wear the Brady jersey.
Number 12. Got to do it.
Yep.
Got to do it.
Who's your 13?
Dan Marino.
We will get him to
Oh.
buy a jersey. Do you have Grogan? Do you have
For
Grogan?
every episode.
Do you have
I
Grogan?
used to have a Grogan.
Who's
It was
15?
he was 14. He was number 14. 15 would be Patrick Mahomes.
No, Grogan's 14. Yes, 15.
Yep.
Do you have a Mahomes shirt?
No.
I was gonna say, don't.
No, but he's
no.
but he's
Going
going
to
to
the
North
outlets.
Conway this
Yeah.
weekend. Listen,
I was
Steph,
like, why are
we're
you?
doing episode 11, 12. We got to get up to 20. I have to have a jersey for each of those. So come on.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Anyway, thank you for joining us. You can check out all of our content when you see Rubber Shoes pop up on your social media, on Instagram with the wrap up every morning. Our link tree is in the bio on Instagram, and you can always grab the rest of our shows at atbshow.com, which will take you right to our YouTube page. Share with your friends. Please comment. And for the love of God, please subscribe. We need all the help we can get. For Adam
For real.
and Billy, I am Timmy. Scotty is off to have dinner, apparently, with the hard blink and the dilettante. He jumped out of the plane early. We will leave you with that. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right.